promised, we're going to continue to bring you information, ideas, things that you can talk about. Our community, our city, our state, now officially the nation as of today at about 3 o'clock our time with President Trump's national declaration of an emergency for our country all around the coronavirus. But what we want to do, and I brought some friends in, we're hanging out here as we were broadcasting and podcasting yesterday from Align Mortgage of Texas. We are back here today to bring in a bunch of good people, friends, people who care about our community. We've got Salo right now streaming. He's super close to my face with the camera. Like, that's way too close. All right, man. All right. Don't show all those imperfections because we're here for the community today. But we are streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. We are also streaming live on Align Mortgage of Texas's Facebook page and the Chris Cano podcast page.
Man, we're blowing
to
it
just
up.
have some real talk. So let's get and introduce some people here. So we're going to talk coronavirus. We're going to talk our community. We're going to talk calm and the things we can do, information to keep our community as a whole together moving forward. That's what we're going to talk about today. Not craziness.
Feel free to comment.
Feel free to comment, like and share.
Already got into Salo.
Put the So like it, share it, tag it. Chris.
Come on. If you're watching, and so right now we got Lori Luna saying the Culebra Meat Market has all the meat. That's what we're tuning in today for. We're going to bring restoration back to San Antonio. I get it. The HEB shelves are empty with toilet paper. I think that joke. It's running dry, man. It's one of the symptoms. So we're going to talk. Get involved in this conversation today. If you know something, we need to know it. So let's get it going. All right, so let's go ahead and introduce some of our people today. We got Cody Carrasquillo. You guys know him as the lender extraordinaire, so Cody's giving perspective. We call him just the normal interviewer, the guy who kind of knows what's happening with coronavirus, right?
Kind of knows. Corona.
We got Chris Marty bringing his perspective from the real estate community. Chris joins us as a owner of a real estate company, the Rebate House. So a little bit of insight in what's happening in our industry, right?
Yep.
You guys know me, Chris Cano. We got Greg Brockhouse. You guys see enough of us. James Smothers comes to us with some insight from the builder world.
Before I cut you off here, let's give the props to Chris Cano and Align Mortgage of Texas. So Chris came and said, let's put this together. Let's calm this down. We're podcasting right now live from Chris's facility, so he always opens his doors, this business, to the community. Align Mortgage of Texas, follow it. So thank you for allowing us the opportunity and platform to put this out. And thank you to Salo and Charlie behind the scenes for knocking out the tech aspects of it.
Good job, guys.
Yeah. Victor Salinas is watching right now, so we got the boys in blue watching. We want perspective from all angles, San Antonio. So this news is hitting us, and it's hitting us fast. We just got notified, one, by Mayor Ron Nirenberg, put it out, update on the coronavirus, which he seems to be using Facebook as his biggest platform, Greg, in regards to how we're updated.
The world gets its information. I mean, no matter what it is right now, everything you're doing is over social media. Yeah. So, which in a situation like this, is both a positive and a negative because it can really spark a lot of fear and craziness. We saw it last year. Remember when that gas shortage and the city went insane? And what are we seeing now today? Anybody got any stories they've heard from family or friends about rushes on HEB or Costco or anything like that at all?
All over the place.
All everywhere.
Yeah, it's a madhouse right now. It's a madhouse.
New Braunfels, for whatever reason, is particularly hit very hard. The Dollar General, all the meat markets, HEB, ghost towns. I mean, Medicine Short.
Bean and cheese are hard to come by right now.
Cheese are hard to come by.
I'm telling you right now, the place with all the goods is what's it? Michoacana. Yeah, they got all the goods right there. Stock up on your Chinese candy right now.
You know, Greg, you said something a few minutes ago. We've seen this before, right? We've seen maybe not in this drastic, and I want to give reverence for like what's happening right now. Our president just declared a national emergency. It's happening here in San Antonio.
What's a national? What does that mean? Do we have a comment? What is a national emergency? So that just happened from Trump. 10 minutes ago?
Yes.
So do we go home?
No, I don't think we go home. I think we're seeing this getting widespread in different areas. They're finding more outbreaks of patients being out there and stuff like that. And kind of what we said earlier, we want to bring some calmness to this, right?
Yeah.
We saw Y2K. We saw the Ebola virus. We've seen this before. And I think that there's a lot of things that are happening, especially in the media, where there's just widespread panic, right? At the end of the day, people are still going to buy homes. People are still going to need to get their kids to school. Right now, schools are closed,
We're
right?
going to talk about that, too.
This is something, and I do want to recognize this. Someone just posted on here, Lyndon Thomason, and we politically make fun on my podcast, a lot of politics in San Antonio. And he said, and I'll read it because I think it's worthy, and I saw Trey Jacobson logged on there, former chief of staff for Mayor Ron Nirenberg. Trey just came on and is following as well. Hey, Trey, what's going on? But Lyndon said, pray for Ron. He needs prayers. All leaders do.
Yeah.
So, look, and I'm always one to take the quick shot at anybody as well, because you think, hey, man, I can do that job better. Or sometimes things get personal in politics, if you can believe that.
Yeah.
But no, I think that's a great way to start the conversation, which is Ron Nirenberg and that city council, they all need prayers right now, and they need the support of the community. You get past these types of crises because you work together and the community sticks together.
Yeah.
And you don't give up on the things or the way your daily routine of life. If you give that up, people are suffering. So I'll be the first to put out there, and thank you, Lyndon, to remember we got to pray for Ron Nirenberg and that he makes the right decisions, and he has the gifts necessary right now to get that done. And so does the entire city council, Judge Nelson Wolf, and everybody who's about to guide us through probably some unprecedented times in our community.
Sure.
And so just want to throw that out there, Lyndon. Great point. Very good point.
Colleges are closing down. Schools are closing down. Fiesta Texas is closed. San Antonio, you know we are in trouble when Fiesta Texas is...
No, Fiesta Texas.
Fiesta Texas.
Yes.
Fiesta Texas.
Six Flags is done.
Salo
Right.
sounds more upset about Fiesta Texas closing than Fiesta.
People are more worried that the coronavirus is hurting people at Fiesta Texas than the Rattler.
Yeah.
Like the wooden Rattler could not close down Fiesta Texas, but the coronavirus got it. Right? So
It's insanity,
it's crazy.
so-
Well, the good news is, while we're all at home now, people are getting sent home, we can at least, get ready for March Madness.
Yep, canceled.
Oh, never mind.
Golf
Well, we'll get
canceled.
ready for baseball season, right?
So here's a
Canceled.
question. Here's a question for all of you. So we know everything is shutting down, right? All the sporting events have gone down. City governments issuing national emergencies. All of state governments everywhere, the country. Are you going to keep frequenting places in this city? What's your game plan for your family? Because I'm concerned that the small business owners and all of us out there who are trying to make a living are going to suffer, and it'll be catastrophic for families. So let's talk a little bit about that. I know my family and we're going to keep going. Like, we're going to keep going out there
Yeah.
supporting. What's your
where are
stand?
you going to keep going, though? So, I want to challenge you here, because Marissa is watching right now, and she's reminding us online church, right? So, those of you all who were Friday now getting ready for Sunday, getting ready to go to church, a place where we want to resort and go pray for Ron Nirenberg and for what's happening, are shutting down. Churches are shutting down. Online church is now becoming a thing. So we see that immediate impact taking place.
Yeah, for sure.
Online church?
Online church.
What if your church doesn't have a camera? Baptists.
Yeah, well, churches. So let's talk. So real quick, then let's make sure we recap. The city of San Antonio, the mayor this morning at 10 o'clock declared an emergency situation in the city of San Antonio. So he banned yesterday gatherings above 500. And then actually anything above 250 is going to be regulated. The schools have closed now next week.
Yep.
So restaurants and all these other things, they're still going. So are you going to consider the question? Let's ask Cody. What are you going to do? You going to change any of the way you do your business, or anything you're thinking about where you're going to go, or how are you going to move around the community?
I mean, honestly, I'm the most concerned over not getting chicken on a stick for Fiesta this year.
Yeah.
That thought is really going through my head right now.
Cody, what about Planeta being closed, bro?
I don't think that has more than. I don't think that place has more than 50 people in it. I think they're safe.
And they've had
That
the
would
coronavirus
probably,
for years, I
that would be
think,
ground
yeah.
zero for the coronavirus.
Yeah. James, what are you going to do? Family, wife, children? What's your game plan as things ramp up?
We want to be as cautious as possible, and my wife, she has hand sanitizer in the house. She's prepared, but we're not going to live in a spirit of fear. We're still going to go out, and we're still going to go to restaurants that are open if we can take our children there and have a meal there. Like, I feel that there's just this widespread panic in just so in certain situations, but
Yeah.
we're going to still live life.
We're
We're still going to be.
Can I
Yeah.
can I kind of put myself out there a little bit
Go.
right now?
Go.
I'm taking advantage of these low flights.
You're traveling.
You're going to travel?
I'm taking advantage of these low flights.
Where are you going?
Where are you going?
Miami?
That
Vegas.
the
Vegas?
flights are
Vegas.
they're friggin' low.
Yeah,
like
they're low.
They are as low.
They're
I think
low.
you get to New York and back for like $150.
Yep.
Yeah, and I mean, this is a serious event, and I think everybody knows that it's a serious event. But at the same time, we've come through events like this before, and I think more than anything, we just have to stay calm. We got to put trust in the people that are in those positions for a reason. And we've got to show our leaders grace for maybe not reacting in the ways that we think are best, but at least reacting.
Yeah, well said, Cody. How
You
about-
know, so to that point, people do need to settle down. They talk about this recession, like we're talking. This is multi-layers, right? Potential recession. We may be in one, heading towards one. You got local markets that are already operating on a thin margin, and I saw somebody make a suggestion saying, at least go out and buy gift cards, right? And you may not be able to eat in the restaurants, but support your local community, get out there, spend some cash. People are in fear right now. When people are in fear of something, they secure, right? And so a lot of people are securing their assets, they're buckling down, they're going to H-E-B, securing canned goods. Yeah. I have a question. You're given $100 to go to H-E-B, Marty. What do you spend $100 on for the coronavirus season we're in? $100.
Yeah, I mean,
Spam.
I think I was gonna say non-perishables. I think it says canned goods, rice, beans. I mean, I think that's
corn
kind
dogs.
For me, it's chicken tenders, hot dogs, buffalo wings, candy corns. No,
all the things
all the
What are you doing with the family though? You gonna head out?
So it's funny you say that. This is obviously very serious, and don't let any of us downplay the potential. But it's not super serious for a large group of people. I mean, there's a high risk group, which is people over 60, people with pre-existing health condition, and I understand if you live with people that fall into those, you see people that fall into those, I understand being concerned. But for the vast majority of the population, it's not something that you're just gonna fall over and die. But what is gonna happen, so yes, we are going out to answer your question, Greg. I think the big thing though is a lot of people. Houston Rodeo, these guys, these ranchers, these farmers, they worked all year, for the rodeo just to have it canceled. They didn't even have their shot to win. Hundreds, thousands of dollars gone, lost. South by Southwest, all these aspiring artists, this was their spot to get recognized. Gigs that were booked, no one is getting paid. And, this is something that we cannot stop supporting these people. We've got to support them or they'll never take off.
We were talking about this a little bit in the broadcast and listening to that, like Mark Cuban, and how he's handling it, talking about the amount of workers that this is affecting just through the NBA. So he's coming up with a plan right now on how to keep them busy. Right? People still need to get paid. People still need to go on. So you were talking about why the market has been up in the last hour.
So this morning, obviously, big developments today. And then over the last few days, we've seen, the Prime Minister of Canada's wife tested positive for coronavirus. Tom Hanks, right? Which I still think Tom Hanks may have started this entire craze. But we're seeing it's infecting all aspects of life right now. Nobody is immune to it. We get that. So markets, right? Certainty is what they're looking for, right? They don't like chaos. They don't want to see uncertainty in the government arenas to political arenas, wherever you want to put it. If there's uncertainty or chaos, that affects the market directly, right? Because what business owners and leaders want to see is they want to see stability. So what we've seen over the last few days has been driving things crazy. Yeah, we're in a mortgage business, so we see it affecting in the rates. I mean, almost overnight from time to time, sometimes within the same day. So yesterday, and within the last week, we saw the greatest single point drop since 1987, I think it was. Nearly 10% of the market dropped, 9.9%. Biggest drop since, I think, October of 87. And then today, the market shot up about 1,200 points. And then it dropped. And then on the president's declaration, his national emergency declaration, we saw it shoot up again 10% now. So now it's the single biggest day rally it's ever had, right? So 2,000 points up today because the president is committed to inserting, billions of dollars into the economy.
All
so
the people that freaked out and sold everything yesterday.
They want to see stability. God. So now they see the president and the team coming in and beginning a process to reinforce the economy. Look, this is not this, and this is very clear. And I think we have to be clear about this. This problem in our economy right now is not due to a breakdown in the financial system. That's not what it was in 2008.
Yeah.
No. It's not. This is a crisis. This is a scare. This is a health issue that's testing, right? That's stress testing our economy, but the economy itself is sound. But where we cause problems is we don't go out. So what concerns me when I ask that question about families is that we have to continue to go out in our community, restaurant owners, small business owners, little Jalisco's, little burger shops, all these families will suffer if we don't go out and continue to do our best and practice social distancing, hand washing, all those things. But if we clam up and go south and hide, people in our community, we beat these things when the community comes together. Don't forget your small business owners. I can't say it enough.
Greg, I got a question. Let's role play real quick. I had Corona 2 weeks ago, and I've been cured of Corona. And this weekend, I invite you to my house for a barbecue with some Coronas. Are Are you coming and hanging out with me?
I'll be there, brother.
Yeah.
I'll be
my
there.
dog.
Now I'll be wearing a full body Kim
So
suit.
we got Richard Leva here.
I'll be
asking,
lathered up at the.
This isn't going to stop people from closing, right? So individuals, real estate agents asking about, just their everyday life, closings, and the show has to go on.
Yeah.
You guys, we have to make sure that unless it is being
shutdown.
unless it's government shutdown or something that's actually on the news, the show goes on. Do not make the assumption that you are to remain indoors.
Yeah.
This is we're in San Antonio.
Yeah,
Chris,
We
I got-
just now postponed Fiesta. Just now.
Yeah.
Like that's how much we fought to keep things normalcy in place. So it's going to require all of us getting in line.
Chris, how are we here at Align Mortgage handling that? So I did get a call from someone and said, "Hey, are we shutting down our closings? Are we what's happening with closings with all these things happening? So what's our plan?"
So we have to take precaution, right? And so this is where we got to get ahead of this thing. We're still doing closings and we're high-fiving the people coming out of the closing room. We got to stop that. I'm going over to the people who just closed and I'm pumping their hands full of sanitizer. So we have to be, we make fun and we make light, of the matter because humor has to continue and prevail. But we got to take precaution. We're 86-person company, so we're still within the safe zone. But surface areas, and we got to keep clean. We got to ramp up our cleaning crew. It is a cost.
Yeah.
Think about that. If you postponed, right? So good question.
Yeah.
Just in our line of work, let's say we push a closing. Somebody misses their contract. Somebody doesn't get paid. Somebody's home. Is there going to be somebody on the other end? Maybe they've sold their home, so their home is pending a sale. They're waiting on the purchase of their new home, or they're renting a house. Their lease is up. So if we bump, right? If we stop doing our jobs, and something pushes, somebody doesn't close, and we say we'll come back in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. Can you imagine the downriver, what that's going to do to people's lives if they can't get their keys to their home? Granted, we do a lot of stuff in the world now virtual, right, over the internet.
They're actually,
But-
it's pronounced quarantine.
Quarantine.
Yeah, not a home. It's not home. It's quarantine.
You get quarantined wherever you're at.
Yeah.
But to push, right, again, back to if you stop your normal business routine in your life, it will have monstrous effects to people you may be doing business with. So to close it down, and it's the same thing. So from the realtor world, you got to be taking people into houses, other people's homes. So answer this, realtor man, dominating
Marty,
realtor
come on.
Marty.
Yeah, rebate house.
How are you doing this at Rebate House? Shameless plug. How are you doing this though? I mean, how are you getting it done if you have to bring people into people's homes for showings, viewings, and all these other things? Talk to us. How you?
Yeah, for sure. I definitely, we're seeing it. I'm having people that are asking me, should we even be looking at homes? I'm seeing stuff from the owners of these homes, saying, hey, we don't want people coming in here because we are in that high risk group and we don't want that. So, it is going to change the way that things are done, and it's going to rely a lot on, I think some questions, just kind of, almost kind of some precautions that need to be taken place, making sure that, again, good practices are being taken care of, hand washing, hand sanitizers, things like that. And it's really going to, as an agent, I think that it's going to rely on us to beef up our online presence, virtual tours, things like that, things that can market our properties.
But real estate agents, y'all get excited about everything. And I think right now, San Antonio, just in general, and Greg, you probably can speak to this a little bit. Is San Antonio just excited right now? Are we just having fun? And are we all going on to Netflix and watching Contagion and Outbreak?
I always say this about San Antonio.
This is kind of fun, isn't it?
This is
in a weird way.
This is what San Antonio is, and I tell people this. No matter how crazy the world is, no matter how bad or good our elected officials are, people leading our country, no matter all of that, San Antonio seems to always continue to do business as usual.
Yeah.
They always end up on the right side of things. If someone's got a busted tire on the side of the road, you're going to get help. Coronavirus, H1N1, SARS.
Chupacabra.
Come on now. We're staying indoors for that. I'm telling you right now. I'm not going outside. I was just going to drop the La Llorona joke and you stole it from me, man. Don't do that. But it's your house, so you can do whatever the hell you want. So the city is about the most resilient city, right? And that's an overused word in politics and in business right now, resiliency. But this city bounces back from everything, man. I mean, I was at last night. I took my parents and in-laws to go see the Four Tops and Temptations.
Oh, you went?
I went. That place was jam-packed at the Majestic
It
Inn.
was.
So you know what that tells me? That
Good.
generation is not afraid of the coronavirus.
Yeah.
Now, I can't talk much about snowflakes and millennials. I feel bad for you if you want to shut down school and go home and hide in a bubble. But in this particular point in time, I'm there last night, and you could see generationally, they was on. Now there was hand washing everywhere.
Well, what
but
generation was there?
man, this is 60 plus, man.
60 plus.
That's the high risk group.
We were all together. We were all together.
What time was
I was with them.
What time was that concert at, Greg?
Now I'm really.
You were
starting
all
to-
within.
5:30.
Wait, was that concert at 5:30? So they didn't get to watch the 9 o'clock news because
We were, trust me, I talked to nobody and I washed myself with hand sanitizer. All myself with hand sanitizer.
Oh man.
I left that place and took a shower. No, but it's nah, man. People, look, the city has always believed in itself, and that I think from 300 years of this. So San Antonio founded in 1718, right? 302 years of this city, it doesn't fail.
No.
So I think regardless of leadership or even bad leadership, crazy decisions, people getting flown in by the busload from Grand Princess cruise ships, all this stuff, a corona patient going to North Star Mall, this city continues to win.
Yep.
And I believe in it, and I think so. I think we're good about that. So
Yeah.
we want to party. We want to party. Don't get me
Ron
wrong.
posted just a second ago that we had one person in San Antonio. So it's not even the North Star Mall person anymore. I think that person's been cleared, or I don't know what the update of it is.
they flew
But now
them out.
there is one person that is documented in San Antonio.
Yeah.
One. Now, that may freak some people out because, who did that person talk to? Who does that person know? Who's in that person? And I just think that we're hyping this up way
Yes.
too much.
Yes.
And one thing that I know is if we're not careful, what we perceive is what we receive. What we perceive is what we receive. So if this is the perception that we're going to have of San Antonio and the way of life, and we need to go and hoard, good luck.
Yeah, good luck.
Yeah.
Good
Well,
luck.
and Melinda Dunham, well, it's serious, guys, but panic is not the answer. That's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, when has mayhem ever fixed anything?
No.
Oh,
man,
man.
when is
Broston,
mayhem?
Terry Fossler said Broston Homes has virtual tours
Yeah.
online.
There
you Wow. go.
Yeah, Broston Homes.
There you
So
go.
good shout out
Well,
there,
and,
Terry.
and let me drop we are not medical people by any means,
Yeah.
but I got one factual statement, which is that there has not been a single death or serious complication case of coronavirus in anyone 9 and under. So for all the parents out there that are freaking out, my kids, my babies, my mijos, 9 and under.
That's a good point because I think people are freaking out with kids for
Yeah.
another reason right now,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
With schools being shut down. Greg, you were talking about this a second ago. That's where some of these kids is the only place they get a meal.
Oh, yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that. So my wife brought this to my attention. She's a Northside school teacher, has been for 13 years. But she said the same thing. It's you have to remember, a lot of kids in our community, right? And we have families that are struggling every day. That's why I'm on and on and on about small business. Small business employs 80% of the workers in this community. 80+% are small business employed. So when you shut down your life and you don't go places, even if it's through the damn drive-through, you're helping them out. Do not give up on small business as things go crazy. But those families, right, those kids, sometimes their only meal, and their kids by the thousands, their only meal is when they go to school. So if the schools are shut down, there are kids in our community that will not eat.
That's serious.
So
That is
I
serious.
mean, so we could sit here and talk about markets and rates and Donald Trump and Joe Biden and crazy Bernie Sanders. I had to say that, but we can go all over all that. And at the end of the day, there will be children in our city that don't eat because of what's going on here and their inability to get access to food. They call them food deserts, food insecurity. If we don't answer that problem and keep that at the top of our mind as well, I think we're not doing justice to it. Go look what the food bank's doing. If you go to San Antonio Food Bank, just Google them, check out their website. They have pandemic kits, they have resource kits and food kits available. If not, donate to the food bank. Give the money. If you want to donate and put money into something, give it to the professionals who know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And don't chunk cash out your window at somebody
That's
on the
good.
side of the road. Give it to the professionals.
Marissa's little brother Micah was heading to a concert in Florida. What big concert is going down in Florida? Ultra. So Micah was heading to Ultra. So you got a guy, he's 21, 22 years old. They save up $500-600 to go to Florida, go to Ultra. They got the plane ticket, they got the week-long VRBO. And what they were trying to do is actually get their money back for the flight. But unless you actually have a note from the doctor saying that you have coronavirus or that you're treating somebody, a family member that has coronavirus, so this is a big thing. Right, people are losing tons of money, tons of travel, tons of VRBO, tons of the Ultra, the South by Southwest. All for what?
Yeah.
Well, tough one. Cody, what do you got?
Man, I think the message here is just be responsible. You know, be responsible. It's okay to have a sense of humor about it, but at the end of the day, we've got to live. You know, I'd rather live than I mean, living in fear is not a way to live at all.
Sure.
But we still have to be responsible. But my heart goes out to those kids.
Yeah.
It's legit, man. It's legit. And
That's an
if we don't recognize that, and look, San Antonio is the highest ranked of the top 25 cities in the nation. San Antonio has the highest level of systemic poverty. I mean, it is the number one city in the nation. Yes. And it's grown into that role as the number one. It's the poorest city of the top 25. Our income inequality issues are huge.
Yeah.
We have to acknowledge that. And there's a lot of reasons why that goes into that. And I don't want to get into the political side of it, but the fact is there is people who live in abject poverty in our community. And these things, and they're relying on us going to get those breakfast tacos. It sounds ridiculous. I mean, oh man, how can that make a difference? But when it's owned by the family and that family has 2 or 3 kids at home and the kids are working in the shop, right? That's how it goes. I mean, these family-owned businesses, their children grow up in the business.
Right.
So their business is their wealth. And if you don't frequent that, if we give up and go into clamshell, it's going to hurt a lot of people.
Those are the best tacos too. Taco trucks. Those are the best tacos.
I'm telling you,
bro.
man. I'm telling you.
Think about just not only the meals, but how many families rely on the public school system as a form of daycare, right? When they're dropping their kids off in the morning and they're going to work, and that's how they're making money. If the schools are closed because of panic, they have no one to watch their kids, and they can't go to work, which makes the problem even worse because now they're not making any money.
Good
They
point.
don't use our babysitter, Cody, that we had growing up. El Televisión.
Chris, you cool with me bringing Jeremiah here?
El iPad.
Yeah. El iPad now. Yeah.
You know,
No.
Cody, I think you made a really good point. We have to be responsible, right? But let's not panic, right? I think what we're doing right now, we're getting on a podcast, we're telling people, I think real estate agents need to encourage people to still go out, look at homes, still stay in business, still keep doing things, still keep living.
Yeah.
Let's be responsible with what we're doing, but let's still continue to be out in commerce, still go out to restaurants, still go out and look at homes, still purchase, because if we stop and we just shut everything down, it's going to cause even more problems later on down the road. And it takes people like us right now saying, guys, calm down. And we got to get that message out.
We do.
We got to tell it to everybody. We got to have, it's going to be all right.
You know, one thing, you still got to have church.
Yeah.
You still got to have church. And
Churches are exempt. Churches are exempt from the ban right now.
Yeah. Well, right now, CBC, I think, is putting it out. And I don't want to officially say that because they're going to probably release a statement. But I know, like, Stephen Furtick this morning, and he's got a big Elevation Church. You know, he put it out that he'll be doing an online. The church doors are closed, though. But you know, that's where I believe, and coming from a faith-based stance, that's where, you know, the devil wins, right?
Yeah, right.
And so it's just isolation, trying to keep us away from others, and so you got to have church, you got to have faith, you got to pray, you got to be around people who could encourage you.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Churches were exempt from the ban, so it was 250, 500 people plus. Churches are exempt from the ban. So I don't know how long that's going to last. Like at Mass at our church, we're not hugging each other and we're keeping our distance from each other, and we're not taking our communion by mouth anymore. It's in the hand. So there's no holy water. So there are precautions people are taking to get you to church. But now this is another level of precaution. But you know, hey, look, wherever 2 or more are gathered, right? So
I mean, look at the NBA.
Yeah, NBA.
Sports bettors everywhere in shock.
Yeah, everybody-
You know,
Sports bettors, you got to pray for the sports bettors right now. They
I needed that.
are losing mind.
You
You're
know,
right.
Cody's really worried.
just when I
right.
get a little too worried, Cody makes it a little more realistic.
Yeah. Sports bettors.
no, but
Epidemic.
But seriously,
Crisis.
when can you ever remember the NBA being
Space
suspended?
Jam.
Nine-
Space Jam.
9/11
Yeah,
was
Space Jam.
9/11 was probably the last time we saw
Jam
serious
predictable.
sports
Space Jam.
closures.
Yes, Space
Yeah.
Jam.
And then we bounced back real quick from that. Like it came right back. You know,
It's-
9/11.
You know, I just got to be honest because, you know, I don't follow the news too much. I really don't watch TV a whole lot. I really didn't take the coronavirus that serious until I saw that multiple mainstream events were being canceled, like the NBA season, Fiesta Texas, Fiesta. And now I feel like the hysteria is real. Now I feel like there are a lot of people panicking. I went to Walmart, just going to Walmart to pick up a few things, and it was packed.
Yep.
I mean, it was jam-packed. to the point to where it felt like people were going to push each other to get to toilet paper. And man, I mean, it's something serious.
So you mentioned. So I'm glad you said that, and we see this in our city, in our community. Period. People are so wrapped in their lives, like they don't pay attention to things. People don't even know it's election season. Like they don't even know who's on the ballot. Like they have no clue until something personally affects them, and then they get engaged, right? So you just said probably what I would say the majority of our city probably had no clue until all of a sudden it becomes real. And when did it become real for people? When the NBA season was canceled. I mean, that if you noticed,
That's a good point.
if you noticed how things were moving, everything was kind of like, all right, well, the federal government could be doing better. City could be doing better. These people shouldn't be here in San Antonio, but okay, whatever. It's not really my life right now. No big deal. And then all of a sudden, all joking aside, Tom Hanks and then the NBA.
Yep.
And then
Yeah.
what happened?
Yep.
It was a
boom.
tsunami
Yeah.
of closes and panicking. So it hit somebody when the Spurs went down.
Yep.
Where were
That's it.
you when you saw that the NBA season got suspended?
I was sitting at the house. I was getting ready to tune
Where were
into.
you, bro?
I was at Little Woodrow's and I immediately closed out my
Yeah,
tab.
where are you? Where were you during 9/11? Where were you when the NBA announced that they were shutting down?
I was getting ready.
All
to
right,
watch,
it's not the
Yeah,
best.
yeah. Oh man,
I was getting
Cody.
ready to watch the Pelicans.
Yeah.
And
So,
sure enough, they
you know,
shut the game down.
But you're right, because it is like we're all probably now at that 1 degree of separation, right? It might have been 2 degrees, but like Chris Marty here, Rebate House, they were sponsoring a big hockey game. This is the Dallas. What's the name of their? What's the
San
name?
Antonio Rampage.
The Dallas.
I've never been to a San Antonio Rampage. I was saying Dallas Stars.
San Antonio Rampage. Yes, we were.
So
Edit-
first
edit
off,
that
it's,
part out.
it's ice hockey. Okay, it's great. I
Yes,
think it's
ice
cute.
hockey.
It's cute. You know, they're skating and they spin sometimes. Or is that no? That's the figure skating.
Yes.
Okay, so they have pads. But Chris had what you were going to put a shirt on like the first X amount of rows. You had $20,000. We were at the first responders night.
7,000 shirts.
7,000 shirts, first responders night, and boom, it's done.
Gone.
And so now you run the risk of, do we still get the T-shirts? Or is this still going on? All of a sudden, like business. And so not only did Chris Marty at Rebate House feel it, but the people that were going to print the T-shirts felt it.
Yeah, it's like a
You
cancel
know,
order.
yep. So it's not just the Rampage, it's now Chris Marty, it's now the T-shirts, it's now the ink companies, these T-shirts, but we're all feeling it in some degree.
So my wife just texted me and said the owner of Andrew's Heavenly Ice. So that's just a little shop. He's not little actually. He does a huge amount of wholesale business. You know, he does the usual, right? The ice cream and all these other things. And he said my wife ran into him and said he tried to go get supplies for his business, but he couldn't because people were stockpiling.
Oh my goodness.
So his whole family in life is Andrew's Heavenly Ice. And by the way, they got great food there. They're right off of Gilbo. Grissom, excuse me.
Come on.
Grissom Row. So excellent little place. But he's trying to go buy supplies, but he can't because some knuckleheads parked in front of him buying out everything. Right? I saw somebody posting on social media earlier, and she said, I'm going to go buy a few weeks of supplies of food. And don't forget about the poor people while we're out there, too. I mean, that's literally what the post said. Like she posted, I'm going to go buy weeks of supplies of food. And then the next paragraph, and let's not forget the food bank and our poor people. What the hell are you thinking to hoard and then say, oh, don't forget the little man?
You know what I saw? I saw people going out to hoard supplies and then just to sell them for double the cost online.
Yes.
Oh, that's
Shame
horrible.
on you if that's you.
Yeah.
Shame on you if that's you.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And some kid got busted in literally because he was selling hand sanitizer at school. Not in Texas, not a Texan.
Some would call him an entrepreneur.
Some would. The wolf of Elementary Street.
Unreal. You know, to think, you've seen the post, Californians are going out and buying toilet paper. Texans are going out and buying guns so we can take their toilet paper. It's bad.
Yeah,
it's funny.
Can't leave it to a Californian to get it all wrong.
At the end of the day, man, if I want toilet paper, I'm going to go get toilet paper. and so I don't need to stock up on it. I'm keeping tabs of all of you who are stocking up on it. I'm going to come get
gosh.
toilet If I need toilet paper, I'm going to come get
He
it.
grew up on the south side.
You go on the south side?
Yeah. Why,
Tyler Hall, who helps us, he was podcasting this morning from Costco. They're 50 deep in line,
Yeah,
and they're just chunk full of, buying by the bucket.
By the bucket.
What I don't understand is the stuff that people are buying, right? Like, let's say, okay, let's devil's advocate, right? Let's say, okay, guys, it's time to start buying stuff, right? Why are you buying water, right? Like, these countries, Italy, China, these countries that have had it the worst, we have real world testimonials. It's not like this is an unknown and we don't know. We knew what happened there. Their water was on the entire time. People were drinking the water. Nothing is happening.
Water's not going
like
anywhere.
water's not going anywhere. Toilet paper, you're not going to be in a place for 6 months. Like, they're already starting to unquarantine people.
I got punked out over a bag of grapes 2 days ago. I'm ashamed to say it, but I did.
Yeah.
It makes no sense to supply that people are buying.
People fight over. You'll be surprised what happens at grocery stores, but it can get out of control. But look, again, exercise calm. Like we said, don't panic. But you can't tell people how to live their lives. There's one thing I will tell you about San Antonians: you cannot tell them how to live their life. So we'll continue to see these types of things. It just needs to be calm. Look, the president's injecting a ton of money into the economy.
Yep.
With the Federal Reserve, you're going to see things start to rebound and rally. The country always comes back from stuff like this. The beauty of it is rates will get stable again. People can buy cars. They can buy homes. Things will settle down after a while. It's just the uncomfortable. Well, one of the biggest leadership things you can always remember is when everybody about you, and this is just life, when everybody about you is losing their head and going crazy, the number one thing you can do, be calm,
Stay calm.
get back to basics, and lead. Like, that's what you do. Lead by example and do the walk, right? That calms insecurities and craziness. And as a leader, and Chris, maybe we'll fire off to this one. I don't know how much further we're going to go with the podcast, but give us your leadership thoughts and how you're going to lead your team, right? Keep people calm. This is your show, man. This is your business. You're running a company. You got places across the country.
Yeah. So first and foremost, you have to have a platform to actually understand what the concerns of the people are. Regardless, we're 5 dudes sitting around a table talking about how we feel about it. The show goes on for us, but you can't deny that people's feelings are real, that concerns are real. We can't compete with media. Media is fast. And the way things are getting reported, however you get your news, however you get your information, it's moving and it's moving fast. Somebody said, I wish that global warming had the same PR person as the coronavirus, right? Because it is, things that really need awareness. So as a leader, I want to lead with empathy, and I want to make sure that it's not anything of bravado and pound my chest and we will stay here and we'll continue to work. You have to make sure that you understand. Second thing is, people have children. And we're talking about what's happening right now in the lives of children. So we're a company that's allowing our employees to bring their kids in. Kids touch everything, though. Everything. Ain't no kids getting Purell. So we're mindful of that. We're keeping our surfaces clean. And you can't just say, hey, kids are welcome. You got to say kids are welcome, and now we got to clean more things. Kids sneeze. Kids crawl on everything. We're, just Greg, to kind of give you the big picture, it's just leading with empathy, awareness, understanding, and knowing when to say, hey, enough is enough. This meeting isn't necessary. If there's a staff meeting that requires everybody to be there, let's make it quick and let's get out and let's go back to our spaces and let's work and take precaution. Let's not be the Utah Jazz guy who was touching all the mics, and then he goes and he's touching all the players, and then
Rudy
the second
Gobert.
guy, Colbert, and then what's the second guy that
Donovan
just
Mitchell.
Donovan Mitchell.
Yep.
And man, so then Colbert goes and he tweets out like, I could have been less reckless, and he's embarrassed. He's like, I'm embarrassed that I was making light of it, joking around, and now here we are. I don't want to be that leader that tweets out like, man, I'm sorry that I didn't respond to this quicker. So we're just being aware and we're being empathetic.
Yeah, and to that point too, it's one thing to make light of a situation and all fun, but especially when you've contracted something like that, I mean, you've got to be cautious. You still have to be responsible even when you're making light.
That's true.
One thing that I want to say though about our country is we've always been known to unite in times like these.
Yeah.
And it's been pretty awesome to see a lot of
Keep on.
it's pretty nice to see countries and communities come together in search of these things. Man, you're motivating me from the bottom of my heart. To all the children.
The children are our future. Treat them well, and something needs to be done for them. Tell them all the beauty they... I don't even know the words. I don't know. All I
That's
know
pretty
is
good.
Michael Jackson.
Our good friend Holly Mauricio says, trillions from the Federal Reserve for Wall Street. Woohoo!
Yeah, it was $1.5 trillion, as it could be as high as that. And look, the government plays these things pretty straight. Got good minds up there. Steve Mnuchin leading the Treasury Department. These people, have been around it. And then all minds come in at these moments too, by the way. It's not just the president's team doing it. You're going to hear advice coming from across the country. but they're going to inject this liquidity into the market. Yeah, the government can print money. We all get that. But they'll inject liquidity into the market. And then we're going to turn around and see things begin to stabilize. And then things are going to reverse, right? Because inflation and other things are going to happen. We just got to be very careful and know that it seems to me like the federal government's on a clean track right now to come in. The number one thing they could do, steady, calm leadership, inject liquidity in markets, shore it up. This is not, again, from all indications, it's not a breakdown in the financial system. It's a breakdown in the social system, right? Because we're a social community. Think about this. Our country's the freest country, right? Liberty, justice, freedom. The freest country in the history of the planet. This will affect us more because of the freedoms we have. So people panic because we're so loose, free, open. You could do anything in this country you want to do. Go anywhere you want to go. It's not like that everywhere else in the world. So we have susceptibilities to these things because our social network is built that people move. So the government stepping in is going to have to be a role that's to take place. And that includes locally here, too. We have to be praying for our leaders and doing the best we can and suspend some things. You know, maybe we don't need to beat the crap out of each other every day. I hate it when I see certain people bashing the president over his handling of this. I get it. Not every leader's up to the task for everything. Everybody fails. Yeah. But I think if we destroy each other and try to do this into some sort of political win at the end of the day, I think it's going to hurt us as a community. And that's why I said, man, we got to pray for Nuremberg, we got to pray for Manny Pelaez, we got to pray for Clayton Perry, all these men and women that are leading on a Sandoval, that are leading our community so that they make the right decisions because people are depending on it.
That's an immense amount of pressure.
It's a ton, man, and you're going to make a mistake. Like, I've been there where you have to make tough votes, and you know you're going to piss off 49% of whoever it is. I mean, just nobody's happy anymore. But I think in crises like this, you have to make these decisions with simplicity, right? And then I go back to faith. I mean, not everybody does, but then you got to take care of each other, and that's why we got to get out and shop. We got to continue to live our lives. And remember, Chef Jason Dady came out with a post. My wife was telling me about it, and I took a look at it. He's begging, continue to frequent restaurants and places in town because people are depending on it. And if you shut down, it's going to have reverberations across all kinds of things. Fiesta families, God knows how they're going to survive till November now. Like, that's a great example.
My heart goes out to all the veterans that are stranded overseas right now, too.
Yep.
A lot of talk going on about PCS season being slowed down. A lot of military members, come back home being delayed.
Yeah.
And
that's true. And this is a good time to remind everybody, in the words of my good friend Simon Sinek, leaders eat last. There'll be layoffs. There'll be people because, leaders don't want to take a pay cut. People who are due for promotions, people are fearful of how this is going to affect the economy. So everybody at this point just secures, nobody is really, operating with a smart business sense. So be mindful of that. If you are a leader, you do run an organization, buckle down, share the load. If, we hurt together. Yeah. Right? But we're not losing anybody through this. This is just the season that we're in. So just a reminder, the reason we really wanted to get everybody in here was to inject just confidence. Individuals, the five of us, kind of have all different opinions and mindsets on how this is going. The president just announced that there's a national emergency shutdown. And we were just like, what does that mean? Well, one thing it doesn't mean is to act like it's the end of the world, right? Get yourself outside, support your local community. Love on each other. Don't dehumanize us. Don't defriend somebody who sneezes, right? Unless they sneeze on you. That's rude.
So a couple of quick wrap-up points, then we'll go around one more time just to say our thank yous and good lucks. San Antonio will be implementing first in the state drive-through coronavirus testing. You will not look this in the president's speech today and the Metro Health Director this morning. This is a diagnostic tool. This is not going to be given to everybody. Just because you're coughing or you may have a sneeze does not mean you're going to get a coronavirus test. So your healthcare provider will provide it, and it will be through other mechanisms now that the city's going to enact, but your social distancing and your normal things. Go to cdc.gov. You can check out exactly what needs to happen. San Antonio Metro Health has answers if you need to call in. But Metro Health and the city are not the ones administering tests, right? This is going to be through your local provider. And people are saying, if you are feeling these symptoms, don't go to the doctor. Call. Call. Don't go into the office. Call. Don't go into the doctor. Don't go into the emergency room. Call. That was what I got from today's briefing. My key close-up point before we wrap up. So we'll go around and we'll go this way and we'll let Chris wrap it shut. My key point is, and I keep hammering it, don't give up on our city. Yeah. Don't give up on our small businesses. don't, God, stop hoarding, right? And let's make sure we take care of each other. We get through things like this because we work together. And we remember we've got neighbors, and our good neighbor means we take care of each other. So mine would be continue small businesses, get out there and shop and eat. Go through the drive-through, for Pete's sakes. Don't get too close to them. Take your hand sanitizer and support local businesses, small businesses. James, what's your wrap-up thought?
My wrap-up thought is let's be responsible with what we're doing every day. Let's not stop living. Let's not stop living. That's my big wrap-up thing, is just be responsible and let's not stop living, because if we do, and as leaders in our communities, leaders in our houses, if we take this on and we carry the fear, we're going to spread it even more.
True.
It's got to stop with us,
good.
right?
So,
My closeout point would be let the professionals do their jobs. We have, I mean, this is, at the end of the day, guys, this is still the greatest country on the face.
My man.
You can say that.
Show
Yeah.
the logo when you say greatest company.
Yeah.
Come on.
This is still the greatest country on the face of earth, and we have a lot of professionals that have been trained and developed for moments like these. Try not to panic. They've got our back. We just need to make sure we unite in times like these.
Yeah.
good, Cody.
Marty?
Yeah, I mean, it's just we cannot shut down, guys. We have to keep going. People have to keep going out. Support your neighbors. The system is there to look out for one another. CPS announced, that was something we didn't mention. CPS announced that they're not going to be shutting off your power and water, in this time of crisis. So, the government is here to do their job, like Cody said. The professionals are here to do their job. So people are looking out for you, and you just have to keep going. We have to keep supporting these businesses, because what you don't want is in 60 or 90 days this to be over, and you want to go out with your family on a Saturday night, and wait a minute, why are a third of the places I used to go closed forever? So keep going.
Just a reminder what fear actually is. It's false evidence appearing real, right? And we weren't given a spirit of fear, but one of power and love and sound mind. And right now it's time for us to execute power. It's time for us to execute love, because if there's no enemy within, the enemy outside can do us no harm. So you guys make sure that you buckle up and get outside and hug your neighbor. We love you. Thank you guys for listening to us today. Let's go spend some money in San Antonio.